I recently had a case where the woman came in to see me. She had gone through the investigation already. She hired a different lawyer. That's her prerogative. And she lost. She had an allegation of neglect against her. Now, this was a woman that was a teacher's aide. So she relied upon a job to support her family. And if this allegation stood, she couldn't work anymore and support her family. What she did was, she was from a different country, a country that has a totally different culture. However, when in Rome, do as the Romans do. You're here in America, you got to adhere to our laws, not the laws of your previous home. She came to America when she was like 22 years old. And she was a model citizen, never arrested, never in trouble with the law, never involved with DCF in any way, shape, or form. Her mother lived with her. Her mother worked for Dunkin' Donuts. We all know America runs on Dunkin' Donuts. And the mother worked early in the morning, like at 3:30 in the morning, she'd go in and make donuts every day. And then she'd come home and caretake for the grandchild. Now, the mother was on the phone with family. She was texting and she called from time to time and used the internet. She took a picture of her son, who was 4 years old at the time, and she sent it to Instagram to a friend in her home country. The next thing she knows, she had the local, state, and federal law enforcement at her door, the FBI, because the picture was completely naked, the child. And so therefore, the police were there because they thought perhaps she had indulged in pornography. The police seized all her phones and computer equipment and did forensics on it. And they also called DCF. So the next thing she knows, she got another knock at the door. DCF. And DCF opens up an investigation. They didn't support it for sexual abuse, thank God. They supported, however, for neglect. Now, this woman worked diligently as immigrants. The whole family were from her home country. And these were some of the most decent, honorable people you'd ever want to meet. And when DCF opened up the assessment, the social worker came, and also the supervisor. And that's when my client hired me. And I met with both, and they were really decent, nice people. The social worker and the supervisor listened to the story intently and spoke to all the collaterals, the local, the state, and the federal law enforcement. There was no criminal charges filed. So all we were dealing with now was just the DCF allegation of neglect. During the assessment, we showed how hard she worked. We showed the forensics that there was nothing on her phones and nothing on her computers. This was just simply a mistake. And God knows we all make them. I got my hand raised. I do it every day. And we all do it. We all have blemishes, flaws, and imperfection. And so I tried to stress to the DCF social worker and supervisor that this was just an honest mistake. That does the punishment of a neglect allegation fit the crime here of sending a nude picture of your 4-year-old child? There was nothing sexual intended. There was nothing for neglect to be intended. And she shouldn't have done it. It was a bad mistake, a poor judgment, but that's not neglect. And so the social worker and the supervisor promised me they'd go back to the area director, which they did, and seek to have the decision reversed. Well, DCF did not reverse that decision at that time when the assessment was finished and the case was closed. So I hired experts in the field of cultural as well as child welfare to write about this woman, who truly, truly, truly is a wonderful parent, person, and human being. And they wrote about how in her country, her culture, which she grew up with, child being nude was in no way, shape, or form anything but just harmless. They don't look at children as being sexual objects at all. Unfortunately, because of pedophiles and all types of sexual abuse, there's a huge, and there should be, alarm that goes off when a child is naked on the internet. And mother didn't know this, and mother didn't understand why it was such a big deal until she was confronted with this by DCF, and she just simply told them, I made a terrible mistake. I'm terribly sorry. This will never happen again. And so DCF and this social worker went to the area director, and I sent a very long document with affidavits and reports from experts about the cultural difference between our country and our home country. And the area director, much to her credit, looked at this, read through this, and agreed that the punishment didn't fit the crime for her to lose her job because of this one mistake. We all make mistakes. We're humans, mere humans. And to be human is to error. She made an error. But she also admitted to it, took full 100% responsibility, and apologized to anybody that would listen. And the area director, in the kindness of her heart and the wisdom in her mind, unsupported this allegation against this wonderful person. And now this woman can now still be a teacher's aide, and she's also going, as we speak, night school to become a nurse. And that's the American way. That's the success story. When an immigrant comes here and improves and gets better and does well in our country, this is what this country was born on. That's why America's so great. And I applaud DCF for having the wisdom and the opportunity to review, relook, reload, reshuffle, and say, hey, yeah, this wasn't neglect. Because they very easily could say, yeah, the heck with it, neglect stands. But they did. They had compassion, empathy, and sympathy for my client. And I'm grateful to DCF for doing that, because my client now has her life back and ability to enjoy her family.